In this video, I want to talk a little bit about my Opuntia plants, which are right here. These are the cacti. These are the eastern prickly pear. Now, I'm going to use these things to point out some things. All of the pads I'm pointing to are new growth from this year. This particular one, I think it's 2 years old, the main plant. And I had taken pads off of my older main plant and just planted them. And last year I had maybe 8 pads. And now you can see I have new pads on everywhere. Now we've had a very wet, rainy spring, and keeping them in clay, I have them in pots instead of in the ground because I plan on taking them with me. I have thought about putting them in the ground this year, but I haven't done it yet. It's July, I could do it now and they would probably just keep getting bigger. The whole plant group would just keep getting bigger. But then I would probably, because I may be moving, I would probably dig them up again in the fall and put them back in a pot. I have a southern window indoors, and because I can keep the heat very low in the house, and they're fine in the house without too much growth. They need to go into kind of a dormant period. And normally, if they're outdoors in the ground, obviously you stop watering them in the fall, if you are watering them, and then any snow that you get is really the only moisture they would get. And they still have to be in a heavy sand soil, a soil heavy with sand, a lot of sand in the soil, so that they don't rot. So there's one pot. Out here in the front I only have 3 pots. Now here's another pot, and on this one you can tell that's a brand new pad. And I'm not sure why that one is elongating a little bit. But you can see that, you know, they're not the prettiest plants in the world. There is some elongation on those 2 stems as well. So I may have put this one out later than the other one, but I'm not sure. And then this is my oldest plant. This is about 10 years old, but I've always taken pads off of it. Now there's a brand new pad. And this year, all 3 of these particular pots are putting out new pads instead of buds. And they grow from anywhere they can start growing. Now over here, this is a rotted pad, and that is black rot at the tip of it. But you can see that's actually the original pad. In the center of the view right now, it looks like a brown dead stem. That's the original pad that is still there and is like 10 or 15 years old. Now, what I'm doing out here today is I just want to show you the landscapers come through, and they think that these are some kind of little perennial, oh, they call them grape hyacinth or something. They're like those, and they just keep coming back, and they're everywhere. Now, what I'm doing is just trimming all of their foliage away from these pots. And what I'm doing, the reason I'm doing that, is you don't want spiders, mealybugs, caterpillars. These are desert plants, and you want to keep any excess foliage away from them just to keep common pests away from them. So now these can dry out completely in the summer and still be fine. These are a couple of geraniums that I have to water, are extremely dry, and if I don't water these today or tomorrow, they'll actually die, where Opuntias don't do that. So this is just like a little update on how these particular 3 pots are doing. And what I hope to be doing soon is coming up with a recipe. Opuntias are used in the southwest and the west to feed cattle, because cattle can eat them. And you may not be able to see in detail, but the pads have hundreds of little tiny spines. They're called glochids. Now this would be a vegetable, but before you cook it, you have to scrape all of that off. So in the near future, I hope to be doing a video on taking one of these pads and cooking it up and seeing what it tastes like. It's a way to grow your own food, and it's a drought-tolerant plant that if they are in the ground, they take off and really fill in an area. They're great for protection. If you want to keep animals out of your garden, you could plant these around the outer area of your garden to keep animals out. So look for another video in the near future on the Opuntia.